There is a moment in aging when you look in the mirror and realize that the changes in your skin are not just surface level. They are biological signals. They reflect shifts happening deep in the dermal layer, where collagen fibers organize, repair, and renew. And for many senior women, the instinct is to reach for something natural and trusted: castor oil. It is a remedy passed down for generations because of its unique ability to penetrate skin, increase circulation, and support hydration. But here is the part most people never hear: castor oil on its own is not enough to stimulate meaningful collagen repair. In fact, using it alone can limit the very benefits people are hoping for. Here is what the research shows. As we move through our 50s, 60s, and 70s, the skin's fibroblast cells, the architects of collagen, become less responsive. They need a specific kind of stimulation to reawaken. Castor oil provides lubrication and circulation, but it does not provide the biochemical signals these cells require to build new collagen fibers. That is why so many women report softness and shine, but not firmness or wrinkle reduction. Something is missing in the formula, and that missing element is a companion oil that delivers the fatty acids and antioxidants necessary to activate collagen remodeling. Why does this matter so much? Because collagen decline is not merely cosmetic. It influences skin integrity, wound healing, moisture retention, and even emotional confidence. Multiple studies in dermatological science show that when people feel their skin is aging faster than expected, it can alter self-perception, social engagement, and even cortisol levels. This is not vanity. This is physiology meeting psychology. In today's talk, we are going to explore a simple but powerful idea. Castor oil becomes dramatically more effective when paired with the right supporting oil. This combination amplifies collagen production, improves wrinkle depth, and supports the skin's ability to renew itself naturally. You will learn which oil to pair it with, why the combination works at the cellular level, and how to use it in a daily or nightly routine for measurable improvement. When we talk about mature skin, particularly the skin of women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, we are talking about a biological landscape that has shifted in profound ways. The cells responsible for creating firmness and elasticity, known as fibroblast cells, no longer behave the way they did during earlier decades of life. In youth, these cells are highly reactive. They respond quickly to moisture, nutrients, and even minor stimulation. With age, they become quieter and slower. They require stronger, more specific biological signals to activate. This is the fundamental reason castor oil alone often fails to produce the visible collagen improvement many women hope for. Here is what the research shows. Beginning in the mid-50s, fibroblast cells produce fewer growth factors. Their mitochondria generate less cellular energy, and the surrounding extracellular matrix becomes more rigid. Imagine a garden where the soil has slowly compacted over the years. Water alone is no longer enough to support new growth. The soil needs nourishment. It needs aeration. It needs targeted nutrients to awaken again. That is essentially what happens within the dermal layer of mature skin. Castor oil has many strengths. It is deeply moisturizing. It enhances circulation. It improves product absorption. Its main fatty acid, ricin oleic acid, has powerful anti-inflammatory qualities, but castor oil does not contain the molecular cues that instruct fibroblast cells to remodel collagen. It prepares the skin, but it does not guide the repair. Many women describe the same experience. Their skin feels soft, it feels conditioned, yet the deeper issues such as sagging, fine lines, and wrinkle depth remain unchanged. Have you noticed that pattern yourself? Moisture improves, but firmness does not. To understand why, we need to consider how collagen is created. Fibroblast cells require three categories of input. They need energy, which comes from mitochondrial activity. They need specific fatty acids and antioxidants that support collagen gene expression. And they need retinoid-related compounds that act like activation keys. Castor oil provides hydration and circulation, but not the full spectrum of building blocks or activation signals. Think of it as turning on the lights in a workshop, but not giving the workers the tools they need to build. This is where many women unknowingly fall into a common trap. They apply more castor oil, assuming that more moisture should mean better results. Yet, without the biochemical signals that tell the fibroblast cells what to do, the skin remains in maintenance mode, not repair mode. This is why so many routines plateau. They create a feeling of nourishment, but not a structural change. There is another dimension at play: hormonal changes after menopause cause a significant reduction in collagen synthesis, sometimes as high as 30% within the first few years after hormonal decline. This shift makes the skin far more dependent on external signals for collagen activation. So the question becomes, what signals can we provide and how can we deliver them in a way that the skin can actually use? This is the beginning of the solution to produce real measurable collagen improvement. The topical treatment must deliver antioxidants, essential fatty acids, and retinoid-related compounds that can bind to fibroblast receptors and stimulate new collagen. Castor oil cannot do this alone, but it becomes a powerful delivery system when paired with the right companion oil. The combination bridges two needs at once. Castor oil prepares the environment, and the partner oil activates the machinery of repair. The moment this principle becomes clear, everything changes. You stop waiting for castor oil to accomplish something it cannot do by itself. Instead, you learn to use it strategically as a foundation upon which true collagen activation can occur, and this is where the transformation begins. To understand why castor oil becomes dramatically more effective when paired with the right companion oil, we need to look closely at how the skin absorbs and uses topical ingredients. Mature skin does not absorb nutrients the same way younger skin does. With age, the lipid barrier thins, microcirculation slows, and the pathways through which oils and nutrients move into the dermal layer become less efficient. This is where castor oil plays a unique role. Its molecular structure allows it to penetrate more deeply than most plant oils, making it an ideal carrier. It essentially opens the door, but opening the door is not the same as bringing in what the skin actually needs to rebuild itself. This is where the science becomes fascinating. Research in dermatology and transdermal delivery shows that castor oil increases permeability and enhances the absorption of active compounds. Studies on ricin oleic acid suggest it can modify the lipid environment of the skin, allowing other oils to move through more easily. In simple terms, castor oil makes the skin more receptive, more permeable, more ready. But if what follows is only more castor oil, the deeper layers remain undernourished. Imagine preparing the soil in a garden by loosening it and watering it, but never adding seeds or minerals. The soil is ready, yet nothing grows. Many women unknowingly follow this pattern on their skin. They create the perfect entry point, but never deliver the compounds that stimulate growth and repair. This is where the pairing with rosehip seed oil becomes so powerful. Rosehip seed oil contains essential fatty acids like linoleic and linolenic acids, powerful antioxidants, and provitamin A compounds known as trans-retinoic acid precursors. These compounds support collagen gene expression and help reactivate fibroblast signaling. In clinical studies, rosehip seed oil has demonstrated measurable improvements in skin elasticity, hydration, and wrinkle depth. It contains exactly the biochemical cues that castor oil lacks, and when these two oils are combined, something remarkable happens. Castor oil improves penetration, and rosehip oil delivers the nutrients that turn on the collagen remodeling process. Have you ever wondered why some serums and creams seem to work beautifully for your friends but do little for you? Part of that difference may come down to delivery. Ingredients cannot create change if they never reach the cells that need them. Castor oil acts as the literal transportation system, and rosehip provides the cargo. Together, they support a more complete biological response. Here is a simple framework to think about it. Castor oil equals preparation. Rosehip seed oil equals activation. One opens the channel, the other initiates the repair. This pairing respects the biology of aging skin. Instead of fighting against it, it works with the natural changes rather than asking the skin to behave like it did decades earlier. Here is what the research suggests when these oils are applied in combination. Circulation increases, transdermal absorption improves, antioxidant levels in the dermis rise, fibroblast cells become more responsive, and collagen remodeling begins. Some studies even show improvements in hyperpigmentation over time due to the presence of retinoid-related compounds in rosehip seed oil. These are not superficial effects. They occur within the deeper layers where long-term structural support is created. Before we move further into the protocol and application techniques, this is a good moment to pause and take in the significance of this concept. Many people search endlessly for the next cream, serum, or procedure without ever understanding the basic biology of delivery and activation. When you learn how to work with your skin at this level, everything becomes simpler. To understand why the Castor Rosehip pairing becomes such a powerful collagen support system, we need to look more closely at what happens inside the skin once these oils are applied. When mature skin receives moisture alone, it responds at a surface level. The outermost layer becomes softer, the texture improves slightly, and dryness diminishes, but the deeper infrastructure remains unchanged. For collagen remodeling to occur, fibroblast cells must receive both chemical signals and gentle physical stimulation. This is where the application protocol becomes just as important as the ingredients themselves. Here is what the research shows. Studies in dermal physiology indicate that fibroblast cells respond more actively when three conditions are met. First, the skin is warm. Second, circulation is elevated. Third, mechanical stimulation such as gentle pressure or massage is applied. These elements increase cellular energy, improve nutrient uptake, and activate specific mechanoreceptors that support collagen production. So while the Castor Rosehip combination provides the biochemical cues, the way you apply them determines how deeply those cues are received. Think about it this way. If you place seeds on top of dry, cold soil without pressing them in, they are unlikely to grow. But if you warm the soil, hydrate it, and gently press the seeds beneath the surface, the chances of growth increase dramatically. The same principle applies to fibroblast activation in mature skin. Warmth, circulation, and mechanical pressure change the biological environment. Here is a simple question to consider. Have you ever noticed that your face looks smoother, fuller, or more alive after a warm shower? That is not an illusion. Warmth temporarily increases blood flow, softens the extracellular matrix, and makes the skin more responsive to nutrients. This is why applying the Castor Rosehip blend on warm skin, particularly in the evening, produces a more pronounced effect. A powerful tool to apply is the warm towel method. After cleansing your face, place a warm towel over the skin for about 1 minute. This does not need to be hot, merely warm enough to increase circulation. Once the skin is warm and slightly damp, apply a small amount of the castor oil first to create slip and enhance penetration. Then add the rosehip seed oil on top. The warmth helps the oils move more effectively into the deeper layers where fibroblast cells reside. Another important element is gentle circular massage. You do not need to press hard. Light pressure triggers mechanotransduction, the process by which mechanical signals are converted into biochemical activity inside the cells. Even 30 to 60 seconds of gentle massage can enhance absorption and activate fibroblast response pathways. This is one of the reasons facial massage tools and techniques have become popular, but your hands are just as effective. The timing of application matters as well. Evening routines tend to produce the greatest results because collagen synthesis increases during sleep. The body enters repair mode, cortisol levels drop, and the skin becomes more receptive to nutrients. By applying the oils before bed, you align the treatment with the body's natural repair cycles. There is also a psychological benefit to an evening ritual. When this becomes a moment of calm and intentional care, it reduces stress and lowers sympathetic nervous activity. Several studies show that chronic stress can reduce collagen production by elevating cortisol levels. A quiet nightly routine supports both biological and psychological repair. To make the Castor Rosehip combination work even more powerfully for senior skin, we need to step back and look at how nutrition and hormonal shifts influence the way the skin responds to topical treatments. Many women assume that what they put on the skin works independently of what is happening inside the body. In reality, the internal environment determines how effectively the external treatments perform. When you combine both, the results become significantly more noticeable. Here is what the research shows. After menopause, collagen production decreases at a rapid pace because estrogen levels decline. Estrogen is not only a reproductive hormone, it supports the thickness, elasticity, and hydration of the skin. This means that even the best topical treatments are working against a biological backdrop that is less responsive. But this does not mean improvement is impossible. It simply means the skin requires more support both internally and externally to create change. Essential fatty acids are one of the most important internal supports for skin repair. Studies in dermatological nutrition show that low levels of omega fatty acids reduce the skin's ability to retain moisture and rebuild collagen. Rosehip seed oil delivers these fatty acids topically, but when you also support your intake through the diet, you create a double reinforcement. Foods rich in essential fatty acids, such as walnuts, flax seeds, sardines, or chia seeds, improve the integrity of the skin barrier and help fibroblast cells become more responsive to topical oils. Another internal factor is antioxidants. When the body has adequate antioxidant reserves, it can neutralize oxidative stress more efficiently, which directly preserves collagen. Vitamin C is especially important because it is required for the synthesis of collagen molecules. If vitamin C levels are low, the skin cannot form strong collagen fibers, even when topical signals are present. This is why some women see dramatic improvements from topical routines, while others see mild changes. The difference often comes down to whether the internal nutrient levels support the repair process. Hydration also plays a key role. The extracellular matrix, where collagen is housed, requires adequate water to allow fibroblast cells to function properly. Chronic dehydration makes the matrix more rigid, reducing nutrient flow and slowing collagen production. A simple tool to apply is increasing daily water intake steadily throughout the day rather than drinking large amounts at once. Slow, steady hydration supports the skin far more effectively. Hormonal changes themselves also influence how the skin absorbs oils. As estrogen declines, the skin becomes thinner and more prone to inflammation. Anti-inflammatory compounds such as the ricin oleic acid in castor oil and the antioxidants in rosehip seed oil help counteract this shift. But they work best when the body is not constantly generating inflammation from stress, poor sleep, or nutrient deficiencies. This brings us to an often overlooked point. Emotional stress influences the skin just as strongly as nutrition. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which reduces collagen synthesis and increases the breakdown of existing collagen. This is why some women notice their wrinkles deepen during challenging periods of life. Stress disrupts the entire repair system. Incorporating calm evening rituals, mindful breathing, or even a few minutes of quiet before applying the oils can support the skin by reducing the internal signals that interfere with collagen remodeling. At this point, you understand why castor oil alone cannot deliver meaningful collagen repair and why pairing it with rosehip seed oil creates a more complete biological response. But understanding the science is only half the transformation. The other half comes from consistency, routine design, and the behavioral patterns that determine whether a protocol becomes part of your life or disappears after a few motivated days. This is where behavioral psychology becomes just as important as dermatology. Here is what the research shows. Human behavior is governed by three primary levers: motivation, ability, and prompts. Motivation rises and falls. Ability is determined by the simplicity of the task, and prompts are the cues that trigger the behavior. For a skin routine to become long-term, especially for senior women who may juggle health appointments, family responsibilities, and daily stress, the protocol must be easy to begin, simple to execute, and connected to an existing habit. Without this structure, even the most effective routine rarely lasts long enough to produce visible change. Take a moment to reflect on your own routines. Have you ever bought a new product with excitement, used it for 3 nights, and then slowly drifted away from it? That drift does not happen because the product failed. It happens because the routine was not anchored to something stable in your environment. Behavioral research calls this habit stacking. When you connect a new action to an existing habit, the likelihood of consistency increases dramatically. A powerful tool to apply is to anchor the castor rosehip application to a nightly ritual that already exists. For example, brushing your teeth, taking your evening supplements, or preparing your cup of herbal tea. The goal is not to create a new ritual from scratch, but to attach the routine to something your brain already recognizes as a stable cue. This reduces mental effort and allows the behavior to become automatic. Another important factor is reducing the number of steps. The more complex a routine feels, the more likely it is to be abandoned. This is why the castor rosehip pairing is so effective. It requires only 2 oils, 1 warm towel, and fewer than 2 minutes of application. When you reduce friction, you increase consistency. The emotional meaning of the routine also matters. Studies in psychoneuroimmunology show that when a behavior is associated with personal identity, intention, or self-worth, the biological impact is often stronger. Your brain treats intentional self-care as a signal of safety. This reduces sympathetic nervous system activation, lowers cortisol levels, and supports deeper repair. In simple terms, when the routine feels meaningful, your body responds more positively to it. This is why it helps to frame the nightly oil application not as an obligation but as a small act of restoration. A reminder that your body is still capable of renewal, no matter your age. A brief moment where you step out of stress and into care. Many women describe this as the first time during the day they slow down. That slowing down is not just emotional, it is physiological. It tells your nervous system to shift into a state where collagen repair can occur more efficiently. Another powerful behavioral tool is tracking small changes. When you look in the mirror every day, it is difficult to recognize gradual improvement. A weekly photograph taken in the same lighting helps your brain recognize progress. Progress fuels momentum. Momentum fuels consistency, and consistency creates results. Now that we have explored the biological, nutritional, and behavioral foundations behind this routine, it is time to bring everything together into a precise, science-aligned protocol. This is the part most women find transformative because it shows exactly how to use the Castor Rosehip combination in a way that respects mature skin biology and maximizes collagen support. Here is the first principle. Mature skin does not respond to intensity, it responds to consistency. Aggressive exfoliation, excessive retinoid use, or harsh treatments often create inflammation that disrupts collagen rather than supporting it. The Castor Rosehip combination works because it is gentle, biologically compatible, and aligned with how fibroblast cells operate in later decades of life. The goal is to create a calm, nourished environment where collagen can rebuild gradually and steadily. Start with a clean face in the evening. Cleansing removes environmental particles, sunscreen, and natural oils that may block absorption. Avoid cleansers that leave your skin feeling tight or dry. Tightness is not cleanliness. It is barrier disruption. A mild pH-balanced cleanser creates the ideal starting point. Next, warm the skin. A simple warm towel placed over the face for 1 minute increases microcirculation and softens the extracellular matrix. This warmth prepares the skin to receive oils more effectively. Think of it as opening the gates so nutrients can travel deeper into the layers where fibroblast cells reside. Apply 1 or 2 drops of castor oil first. You do not need much. Castor oil is dense, and a thin layer is enough to increase permeability. Use gentle upward strokes, allowing it to create a smooth surface for the next step. This step is not about moisturizing. It is about preparing the pathway. Then apply 2 to 4 drops of rosehip seed oil. Because castor oil increases absorption, the rosehip penetrates more effectively than it would on its own. This is where the real activation happens. These oils contain the precursors and antioxidants that tell fibroblast cells to engage in repair mode. Move slowly as you massage the oils into the skin. Even 30 seconds of light circular pressure activates mechanoreceptors that assist in collagen synthesis. Here is an important detail that many people overlook. Do not layer heavy creams directly on top of the oils. Oils and water-based creams do not mix well, and thick creams can block the oxygen flow the skin needs for nightly repair. If your skin feels dry and you wish to add a final layer, choose a light moisturizer that absorbs quickly. Apply it 10 minutes later, not immediately. Another valuable tool is the weekly warm compress technique. Once or twice per week, apply a warm towel over the oils for about 30 seconds after application. This increases circulation and enhances penetration even further. It is not necessary every night, but occasional use deepens the effect. Sleep plays a crucial role. Collagen synthesis peaks during deep sleep, particularly during the early sleep cycles. When you align your routine with your natural circadian repair window, you enhance the biological response. If sleep quality is inconsistent, even the best topical routine cannot reach its full potential. A steady bedtime schedule, a dark room, and limited evening screen exposure support your skin just as much as your oils do. Over time, changes appear gradually rather than dramatically. Expect improvements in texture first, then hydration, then softening of fine lines. Deeper lines and structural changes take several months, but they do respond when the environment remains consistent. When you bring together everything we have explored, a clear and empowering message emerges. Mature skin is not failing. It is simply operating within the natural biological shifts of age. The decline in collagen is not a sign that renewal is impossible. It is a sign that the skin needs a different kind of support, a more intelligent, more biologically aligned approach. The Castor Rosehip pairing works because it respects the physiology of senior skin rather than overpowering it. You now understand that castor oil alone cannot trigger collagen remodeling, but it does something equally important. It opens the pathway, it prepares the skin. And when rosehip seed oil follows, rich in antioxidants, vitamin A compounds, and essential fatty acids, it provides the exact signals fibroblast cells need to re-engage in repair. You have also seen that application technique matters. Warmth, circulation, gentle stimulation, and timing turn a simple oil mixture into a true collagen supporting protocol. But perhaps the most meaningful insight comes from the behavioral side. Long-term change does not come from intensity, it comes from consistency. When you anchor this routine to an existing ritual, when you keep it simple, when you treat it as a nightly act of restoration rather than a chore, you create the environment where repair becomes possible. And with internal support from balanced nutrition, hydration, and stress management, the skin responds even more effectively. The deeper truth here is this: renewal is always available. Your skin, like the rest of your body, retains its ability to grow, repair, and strengthen throughout your life when you give it the right signals. You are not trying to look younger. You are supporting your body in functioning at its highest level at any age. If this breakdown brought clarity, confidence, or a sense of empowerment, I invite you to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. This community is growing into a place where science, psychology, and daily practice come together to help you build a stronger, healthier, more resilient version of yourself.